Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Ignition Time. Let's take a look at everything that's happening in Washington, D.C. Thank you so much for supporting our channel, everyone. And just a little bit of information about me on your screen right here. My name is Dr. Chhoda with Ignition Time. Welcome to our channel. Let's just jump right in. Let's take a look at the one and only Senator Ted Cruz, who actually slams John Kerry for flying to the climate conference in a private jet. Now, he actually points out he's super happy about this, that no Republican on the stage has a private jet. And he was informed that Senator Rob Portman, who's a Republican from Ohio, indeed has one. Now, folks, this is a bit of a joke because Rob Portman indeed does not have a private jet. I just want to be clear about that, but I just thought the episode itself was funny and reflective of the DC Comedy Hour. But folks, back to the DC Comedy Hour, more antics from the one and only Senator Ted Cruz, who is very righteous and indignant, but he is a politician to the core. Let's roll the tape and see what Ted Cruz had to say about John Kerry.
John Kerry has a private jet that has flown dozens of times this past year all around the country. I don't know about you, but I don't have a private jet. I don't believe any of the people on this stage have their own private jet.
Portman does. Yeah. Small one.
All right, now let's shift gears to President Biden. President Biden said that the United States will have a vaccine program for kids aged 5 to 11 and up running as soon as next week. And he said this, I quote, "We have already secured enough vaccine supply for every single child in America ages 5 through 11. And he said that this was a crucial step towards fighting the pandemic. Let's roll the tape and see what President Biden had to say about the vaccine program for kids aged 5 to 11. Let me know what you think, folks. I actually have a 6-year-old son, and my wife and I have decided that he should get the vaccine. That's our decision as parents. Let me know what you think if you're a parent, or if you think children aged 5 to 11 should be getting the vaccine. Let's roll the tape and hear what President Biden had to say.
As soon as next week, we'll have enough vaccine and enough places, and parents will be able to schedule appointments to get their kids their first shot. And we've already secured enough vaccine supply for every single child in America ages 5 through 11.
And folks, let's take a look at another segment featuring President Biden. From PBS News, he had a question: what should Democrats possibly do differently to avoid similar losses in November, especially as Republicans are now successfully running on culture war issues and false claims about critical race theory? President Biden simply said, we should produce for the American people. Folks, I want to give you some backdrop to this. Here's the headline of an article on your screen from the Wall Street Journal. It's clear that the Republicans have essentially been able to score one over the Democrats, and the Democrats have had a huge setback with the election results in Virginia and the very tight race in New Jersey for governor. This is not something the Democrats were expecting. So this is a huge setback for the Democrats, and President Biden simply said we should produce for the American people in response to these election results in Virginia and New Jersey. Let's roll the tape and hear what President Biden had to say. Let's watch.
What should Democrats possibly do differently to avoid similar losses in November, especially as Republicans are now successfully running on culture war issues and false claims about critical race theory?
Well, I think we should produce for the American people.
So that was the president talking about what he thinks Democrats should do after these really surprising results in Virginia and the nail-biting finish in New Jersey. In fact, as Democratic leaders say that the Virginia results show them they need to move quickly and take decisive action to try and rally their own voters, this is what Joe Manchin said to CNN's Manu Raju about these latest results. He said this, I quote, "I just think the message that was really sent is if we're going to do something, let's take time and do it right. Let's make sure that people know what's in it." Let's roll the tape and see what Joe Manchin had to say.
Last night, do you think voters were sending the message that your party should pare back on the very progressive policies that they're pushing right now?
You know, Manu, I'm not going to speak on the message that was sent. I just think that the message that was really sent, if we're going to do something, let's take time and do it right. Let's make sure that people know what's in it.
And folks, while all that's happening, here's a little bit more of the DC Comedy Hour. Air Force Lieutenant General Sami Saeed says there was evidence of a child. He said evidence of a child was apparent 2 minutes before U.S. military launched a drone strike that actually killed innocent civilians and children in Kabul in Afghanistan before the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. But then he says the evidence was 100% not obvious. So think about this. On the one hand, he says evidence of a child was apparent. And then he says the evidence was 100% not obvious. That's like saying I'm 100% right 60% of the time. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous, but let's roll the tape and hear Air Force Lieutenant General Sami Saeed.
The physical evidence of a child was apparent at about the 2-minute point. But I'm just telling you, I put eyes on myself. I just didn't have, I mean, they're doing it for me, but I had to see it for myself. I'm just saying, it is 100% not obvious. You have to be, like, no kidding, looking for it. But when you're looking for it, certainly after the fact, if you ask me, was there evidence of a presence of, yes, there was.
So just to be clear, 2 minutes before the launch.
Yes.
And so, folks, if you thought that was interesting, here's the one and only Congressman Madison Cawthorn, the Republican, and he apparently is going on and on about conservatives and masculinity, and he's not the only one. We have other Republicans in here as well who you'll probably recognize, and of course the one and only Fox News host Tucker Carlson. Let's roll the tape and check out conservatives talking about masculinity, and of course this features some prominent Republican congresswomen as well. Let's roll the tape and you tell me what you think about conservatives and masculinity. Let's roll the tape and watch and let me know what you think. And of course it features former President Trump as well. Let me know what you think.
They're trying to demasculate the young men in this country because they don't want people who are going to stand up. If you are raising a young man, please raise them to be a monster.
More and more men are withdrawing into the enclave of idleness and pornography and video games.
Our military needs to become, as Joe Biden says, more feminine, whatever feminine means anymore, since men and women no longer exist.
You see, the Democrats, they have something they love to do to men. They want to take away their masculinity.
We have a society that celebrates attacking masculinity.
Their motivation here is to basically emasculate state and local policing.
Time, person of the year. They used to call it man of the year, but they can't do that anymore, so they call it person. They want to be politically correct. That's okay.
So that's where things stand, everyone. Another episode of the DC Comedy Hour with antics from Ted Cruz, some clarifications from President Biden, as well as some things going on in Washington, DC that are absolute head scratchers. Please click like. Please click subscribe. And if you're not a subscriber yet, please enable notifications so that you get alerts whenever I release a new episode of Ignition Time. A ton of effort goes into this channel every single day. I appreciate your support. All I ask of you is please click the like button. Please click subscribe. Please enable notifications. That would mean a great deal to me. And I would really, really appreciate you doing that. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Please click like. Please click subscribe. Please enable notifications one more time. Also follow me on Twitter. This right here is my Twitter handle. You'll be able to keep up with all the latest news stories on Twitter. My Twitter handle is ignition_time. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Thank you. Bye.